I've completed 9 demons in platformer mode so far, and I'm going to rank them from my least favorite to my favorite. Let's begin at number 9. Jetlag has to be the worst of all of them. Even after the update that removed the sliding physics, I still don't find this level very enjoyable. The icon has a very fast speed, but the gameplay is very restrictive, which just doesn't feel right. There are also some little things making jetlag worse. I'm not a fan of these two timings where you jump over the saw blade as it moves, as they aren't very consistent. The moving platforms are also bugged so that standing near the edge sometimes causes you to fall off as the movement starts. Then there's the final section. I've beaten jetlag many times and find these 3 jumps to be the hardest in the level. Worst of all is the final triple spike, which requires a slow and awkward approach so as not to hit spike number 1, but also requires speed to avoid the collapsing ceiling. Once again, this part is several times harder than any other in the level, which is never a good thing, especially not at the very end. This is the biggest reason why I hate jetlag. GD Tower Tiny Square is the only hard demon I've ever completed, and it's very good at being what it is, a recreation of Big Tower Tiny Square. That said, I do not like this level for what it is. I was never a fan of those games because they were overly difficult and didn't have much going for them. The Geometry Dash remake is the same way, and some of the mechanics don't even work as intended, so near the bottom it goes. The box motion mechanic in Shift Leaf Temple is one that took me a while to grasp because I'm dumb, and then I reached the final stage, which took me a long time, not because I'm dumb, but because the gimmick is really finicky. When it comes to this second box here, there's no telling whether you'll actually land on it, or just get pushed to your death. There's no consistency here, just dozens of death that don't feel like my fault. If the boxes were fixed somehow, Shift Leaf could have found itself somewhere in the middle of this list, but due to how luck-based it feels, it'll have to stay at 7th. I could easily see Coaster Mountain being number 1 with better execution. I adore its winter theme and the environment that the song and visuals create. Problem is, the gameplay. The ice and wind sections during the breaks are okay, I guess, but the slopey slidey parts are a major disappointment. When I first encountered them, I expected an experience similar to downhill skiing, a freeing feeling of racing on slopes at top speed. What I got instead was very technical, cautious gameplay where I couldn't build up much speed. Even worse, this gameplay was hard to master, and didn't always seem to go well even when I thought I was doing everything right. I'm running out of ways to describe mechanics that don't function properly, but thankfully I won't need to anymore as the remaining demons are much better with this. The next entry is made up of 20 mini-levels that are challenging skill-wise and also typically have a puzzle to solve. In terms of twists, it's not very quirky. The only one 20 Trials has is these grass textures which change the direction and gravity. The puzzles were pretty neat, although there were definitely some that were really hard to do, or hard to solve because they were telegraphed poorly, looking at you 13, so I'm placing 20 Trials dead in the middle. At 4th place, Hole in the Wall has a really cool concept which almost makes it feel like a normal auto-scroller, although it's still up to the player to move things along quick enough to survive. This level has so many unique ways of challenging you in both the cube and ball game modes, with and without slopes. It's interesting and fun the whole way through, and I have no complaints. On the podium is Old Site GD Side, a very hard level that was also enjoyable. I especially admire the parts where you're being chased by other icons. I don't care for the last part, and through the rest of the level there were some double jumps between spikes that I found extra frustrating, but in the good way that all Rage gameplay should be. It all felt pretty cool to do, and there were quite a few twists to keep it interesting. Well met! Flip Swap Factory is based on hitting the jump input repeatedly in order to move platforms and make spikes disappear. In later stages, the platforms also boost your jumps and running. I love all of it because it's a very simple and intuitive mechanic that's used in a lot of fun and easy to understand ways. Take note, Speed Tech. What I found the hardest was the first jump of stage number 13, but that's mainly because I was stupid and couldn't see that I could just stop here and safely boost up. I wasn't the biggest fan of what they did with 14 and 15 though, which is why it's not at number 1. Finally, that leaves our winner. My absolute favorite completed Geometry Dash platformer demon is Forsaken City. The boost blocks were a little tricky to master, but I found the use of them to be very creative, fun, and satisfying. When I time my jump right, I always end up where I expect to end up. Additionally, I appreciate how, despite the camera shift here, I never get stuck on the last stage when I fall down but don't die. I can always just hold left or right and restart. Overall, I found Forsaken City to be the most fun of all of my completed platformer levels, but what about you? What's your favorite? Let us know what it is and why in the comments, and check out some of my other ranking videos if you're interested. Thanks for watching!